Hello, and in today's video we will be estimating in EstimatorXpress Groundworks. As always, I would suggest before you do any estimating that you go to the library and update any prices that you need to do before you do an estimate. This will ensure that the prices that you're estimating with are completely up to date. So for example, if you'd like to update your materials, simply click through to Materials Price Book and choose the item that you would like to incorporate, so add in. The best thing to do is to select an item that is somewhat similar to the item you would like to add in. So for example, if you would like to add in concrete, if I spell that correctly, there we go, concrete, and hit enter, it will bring in all the items that have the word concrete in the title here. And of course then from that you can then make a copy and adjust the price accordingly, so you have your own version added into the software. And to do this, it's very simple and straightforward. Simply select the item that is closest to the item you'd like to add in. So I'm just going to select the top one here for simplicity's sake. Go to New Resource, give it a name, and delete away where it says copy. Obviously you don't want it to say copy. And then obviously key in the fresh price, whatever it may be. When you're happy with the price and the unit of purchase, we hit OK, and that item is now added into the software. Obviously this applies to labour, plant, subcontract and sundry items as well. So for example, the concrete linesman here, I can click on New Resource, because remember, it remembers what we previously keyed in there. So first of all, delete away where it says copy, like so, and we key in the fresh price. And we confirm how he's paid. So this guy's paid £43 per hour. We click OK, and now he's added into the software as a fresh price. And that is how you add in fresh prices into the software. To actually do ground working jobs, it's rather simple and straightforward, as is all estimating in EstimatorXpress. To begin a new job, we go to Create New Job, like so. Quote from job template, and in a couple of seconds it will bring up the wizard. And we will customize builds, so I can select the Groundwork workbooks. So we can give it a name, so I'm going to call it Groundworks for this particular job. And it's for a double story extension perhaps, but obviously it could be for anything. It's going to use a master price book the software has built in. We give the job a start date, so whenever it may be, sometime next year. We choose the relevant specification. We adjust any of the mini specs that we may wish to adjust, so it adjusts ahead of the time before doing the estimating. And then we can review the profit markups on overhead and overall profit markup. We confirm the inflation rates, and we click on Create Job. Now, in a couple of seconds, it will give us a further menu where we select the relevant items for the job that we're going to do here at hand. And here we have it. So, to begin with, as with the Groundworks, we need to go to Foundations Only, and we can select the relevant estimating calculators that we're going to work with today. So I'm going to do foundation and footings for a block wall, and I'm going to do one for a internal cavity wall there. In fact, tell you what, let's have a cavity wall as well for both of them. Once I'm happy, I hit select, and it is now given us the two workbooks that we can start working from. I'll start even with the external wall. Click plus. I can confirm if it's trench fill or trench blocks. Hit select, and up will pop the dimension wizard. And as with all estimating calculators within EstimatorXpress, we simply click through the boxes and confirm the information as required. I've clicked on tech tips and tech labels, so it adds labels to the drawings. And of course, when I click on the boxes, it gives us tech tips in the top right hand corner here. So I can confirm the foundation depth, I confirm the foundation width, I confirm the structural concrete, if there's any mass concrete, and the length of the foundation / footing in meters. Plank and excavation, yes or no, and the bulking of the excavated material from the ground there. I hit next, and I then confirm all the footing details. So I can confirm the splash course depth, the brickwork depth below splash course, the height of the blockwork to the outer leaf below DPC, the height of the coursing blocks to the outer leaf below DPC, the cavity width below the ground, and the overall wall width, the height of the blockwork to the inner leaf below DPC, and of course if it applies, height of the coursing blocks to inner leaf, and the height of the trench blocks where appropriate, and of course if there is a separate damp-proof course. Once we're happy, we hit finish, and that is the external wall complete. Now we can do that for multiple walls, and simply hit the plus again, and we can then key in all the walls as required. If I'd like to adjust any of the materials used, I simply click on the resource wizard button here, and then graphically I can adjust materials or need labour or plant as required. Simply click on the heading that I would like to adjust, I go to the resource used, and then I select the relevant material from the list. When I'm happy, I click OK, and that has then been incorporated into the software, into the price. I can click on the material label here and then go to labour, plant, subcontract and sundry, and of course then I can then adjust any of the materials, any of the labour, plant and so on that's being used. And again, it's simply a case of clicking on the heading as required, and of course going across to the resource used and selecting the relevant labour as required. And it's literally that straightforward. We can even speed up or slow down how quickly they work by clicking on the usage factor calculator. We're saying it takes 1 hour to do 1 metre cubed of laying mass concrete. And it really is that straightforward. And to obviously go through all the different sections, we can simply click next, and that allows us to do both the foundations and indeed footings. Once we're happy, we hit finish, and we've costed for the obviously the external cavity walls. We can do exactly the same for the internal cavity walls, so I won't bore you with that. But of course there are other areas that you may wish to consider, so things such as drainage. So if I scroll down a little here, we can then select the drainage and services where appropriate. We can select individual calculators or a group of them. I'm just going to go for one here, but the principle remains the same. And then we select the relevant items we need, so perhaps a deep manhole and a drainage room there. I hit select, and that is then brought into the job to work off. And to obviously key in the costs, again I just go to add item. I select the relevant depth. And once again, I click on the tech tips and the tech labels. I confirm the depth of excavation for the manhole, its overall width, the length of the excavation for the manhole, and the bulking factor for the spoil, obviously for the soil taken up from the ground. So that allows for the relevant labour and indeed skippage and so on. We confirm obviously the concrete that's allowed for the base. And then we confirm the finer details there if there's a cover slab, number of step irons, number of inlet bends, and number of small manholes, obviously sections there, the small size, medium and the large sections, and of course the bags of sand obviously required for obviously installing the manhole there, and the bags of cement as well. We hit next, and then we can confirm all the finer details on the manhole construction, and it's simply a case of yes or no, or the number that is required for the job at hand. And finally, on the manhole construction, we can confirm the girth of the regulating brickwork, the meters there, obviously the brick leaves regulating brickwork, total number, bags of sand for the mortar joints and cement for the mortar joints, and of course the volume of sand to surround concrete to surround the manhole, and the time allowed to construct the manhole overall. Once we're happy, we hit finish, and that is then costed for your job. If I go to Resources Wizard once again, visually, once again, I can adjust any of the materials, and of course labour and plant, subcontract and sundry items, visually, simply by using this Resource Wizard tool. So I simply click on the heading that I would like to adjust, like so, highlighted in yellow, and then I select the relevant item from the list. It really is that simple and straightforward. And of course the same applies to labour, plant and so on. Let's go to labour, plant, subcontract and sundry, and again I just click on the heading that I would like to adjust. So to construct the manhole, I've got a ground worker. I click on the down arrow here again. I can select the relevant labour I would like, and then I can adjust how quickly or slowly this particular labourer works. Then I confirm it takes 1 hour to do 1 hours of construction of manhole. And once I'm happy there, I click on OK and OK. And that aspect of labour has been updated into the software. And it is really that simple and straightforward to do any groundwork found in EstimatorXpress. And that is how you estimate for groundworks in EstimatorXpress. Thanks for watching.